I couldn't miss this story, frankly, because it actually does capture what's going on out there in a pretty big way. Democrats are grappling with the increasingly dire political reality facing them in next year's midterm elections as warning signs pile up. Once hopeful that they could defy the typical midterm shellacking dealt to the party in power, a series of foreboding developments has rocked that sense of optimism. President Biden's approval ratings are in free fall. His top legislative priorities have stalled, and just this week, Representative John Yarmuth of Kentucky announced he would retire, making him the first senior House Democrat to bow out ahead of the midterms. In conversations with The Hill in recent days, several Democratic strategists and operatives expressed a growing sense of pessimism about 2022. Each one said the party's recent decline is reversible. Still more offered a sober assessment of Democrats' position headed into the final stretch of 2021. To be blunt, said one, I'm not feeling good about where we are. Look, it was never going to be easy or anything. It was always kind of contingent on what got done. I just think we're starting to see how fragile this is. Now, Democrats are pointing to their fundraising. Their fundraising is going well. In fact, in many cases, the Democrats' fundraising is going better than the Republicans. In Georgia, for example, Raphael Warnock, the incumbent Democrat, raised something like $9 million. None of the Republicans, including Herschel Walker, competed, but there's a crowded primary field, and that will consolidate. And we're learning more and more now as things shift in the country. What's happening is your money advantage doesn't necessarily translate at a certain level. At a certain level, things are so polarized and people's minds are so made up, it's very hard to overcome the general level of angst or anger by spending another dollar. And the angst and anger is palpable out there with what's going on. I want to play you a important clip here from Pete Buttigieg. I played it earlier, but you need to listen to something he says.
Well, certainly a lot of the challenges that we've been experiencing this year will continue into next year, but there are both short-term and long-term steps that we can take to do something about it. Look, part of what's happening isn't just the supply side, it's the demand side. Demand is off the charts. Retail sales are through the roof. And if you think about those images of ships, for example, waiting at anchor on the West Coast, every one of those ships is full of record amounts of goods that Americans are buying because demand is up, because income is up.
Because income is up. Is income really up? Because if you haven't gotten a 5.6% pay raise lately, your income's actually down because of inflation. I went to the grocery store yesterday and spent, I actually had to laugh at it. It was $200.47. $200.47. And I was like, can I put something back that's 47 cents just so I can get it to the perfect, I mean, it was on the nose, 200 plus 47 cents. And it was not a great big pile of stuff, but prices are up. I mean, your gallon of milk now is over $3 a gallon. Beef prices are up. We were grilling hamburgers yesterday. Prices are going up. Prices of shoes. I've got a 12-year-old now who's going through a growth spurt, and it seems like we're having to buy new shoes every few months. He just keeps growing. His feet will not stop growing. I don't know what's going on. Everything's going up. And so if you didn't get a sizable pay raise, your income actually went down. So for Buttigieg to say one of the reasons we got shortages right now is because people's income up, why do we have shortages of sports drinks at the grocery store? There was a shortage of crackers at my grocery store yesterday. They didn't have crackers on the shelf. No, it's not a white people reference. They didn't have saltines. Stop it. I mean, I'm surprised. You go through the grocery store and there are still empty shelves. And those empty shelves are not because people's income went up. It's because there are things you can't get at the grocery store right now. And it varies by market. So, in my grocery store for the last couple of weeks, there have been shortages of sports drinks, Powerade and Gatorade. They've had nearly completely empty shelves of those products. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said, in his grocery store, it's not that. He was having the cookie and cracker shortages. Like there were no Oreos at his supermarket. And it's not that people are coming in wholesale and buying; they just didn't get them. There have been a couple of days where I've gone to the grocery store and there were different cuts of meat that I could normally find, and I couldn't find them at the grocery store. And the butcher, well, we may get some in this week. We're just not sure. Supply chain. That has nothing to do with people's income going up. For Buttigieg to go on television and tell, well, we got supplies that are short because people are buying so much because their income's going up. It's simply not true. Because of inflation, you're actually making less money right now, even if you've gotten a pay raise, unless it was almost a 6% pay raise, which a lot of people aren't getting. Most people aren't getting. How out to lunch are these people? They're greatly out to lunch. And that is the Democrats' worst nightmare right now, is fewer people have as much take-home pay as they did. And even when your take-home pay is going up, you're able to buy less because prices have gone up so much more. If they can't figure out this problem, they really are going to have a bad time next year. And by the way, the odds are they may be able to figure it out, but they're not going to figure it out in time to avoid a voter backlash.